We begin today with news out of Clearwater, where Hulk Hogan, the legendary wrestling icon, has died at the age of 71.
Just before 10 a.m. today, Clearwater Fire Rescue, along with the Clearwater Police Department, responded to a house in the 1000 block of Eldorado Avenue for a medical-related call. It was discovered at that time Terry Bollea, also known as Hulk Hogan, was experiencing a serious medical-related issue. Personnel provided medical treatment at that time and transported Mr. Bollea to Morton Plant Hospital, where he died at 11:17 a.m. The Clearwater Police Department is conducting a death investigation, which is standard in these types of cases. There are no signs of foul play or suspicious activity related to this call for service at this time. Our personnel is providing the family with the necessary resources. I'm strongly encouraging everyone to keep the family in their thoughts and respect their privacy during this difficult time. We will not be answering any questions, but we will provide additional information when it becomes available. Any public records request should be filed through our public records section with the Clearwater Police Department. No records will be released today. Our thoughts are with the family, and again, we ask everyone to respect their privacy during this difficult time. Thank you.
Major Nate Burnside with Clearwater Police giving that update just about half an hour ago, and reaction pouring in today, this afternoon. This from Donald Trump just about 10 minutes ago. The president putting on Truth Social, "We lost a great friend today, the Hulkster," going on to say Hulk Hogan was MAGA all the way. Strong, tough, smart, but with the biggest heart. Talking about his speech at the Republican National Convention that he says one of the highlights of the entire week, talking about his impact. He says he entertained fans from all over the world, and the cultural impact he had was massive. To his wife, Sky, and family, we give our warmest, best wishes and love. Hulk Hogan will be greatly missed. Governor Ron DeSantis was in Bradenton earlier today for a news conference. We'll have more on that in just a little bit, but he opened up that event by talking about Hulk Hogan, talking about growing up watching him on TV. Here's what the governor had to say.
As a Floridian, as somebody that grew up in West Central Florida, I was sad to see the news that Hulk Hogan passed away today. He was a major icon for anybody in Gen X. I can tell you, growing up then in the 80s and particularly the early 90s, he was really big. And he actually really was a star first, before even he was Hulkamania, but when he was Thunder Lips in Rocky III. And that was like a huge deal. I mean, obviously that was a great movie franchise with Sylvester Stallone. So he was Thunder Lips, and then a couple years later became the World Wrestling Federation heavyweight champion. And, as a young kid, I'm growing up, and it's like, that was like somebody's like, wow, that's our superhero kind of deal. And the fact that he was from a Tampa Bay area when I'm growing up there, I was like, oh my gosh, like this guy lives in our area. And, back then when they would do these big events like WrestleMania, you could go to it, which obviously I wasn't in a position to be able to go to, but they didn't have even pay-per-view where you would pay for it to come on the cable. They had closed circuit, so you could go to like a venue and they would play it on like a really big screen. And so like the first few WrestleManias, I think, were like that. So I just remember like WrestleMania 2, he's fighting Andre the Giant. And look, I was a kid. I didn't know that it was choreographed, right? I mean, I was like really worried that he was going to be able to do, but he slammed Andre the Giant. That was like a huge thing for like kids in that era. And so, he, and we were with him just a couple of months ago. My kids got to meet him and everything. So I was really sad to see that. And our thoughts and prayers go out to his family and people throughout this region of Florida, because I know so many people cared about him.
And that was the governor with his reaction to the death of Hulk Hogan just a little bit ago. And Fox 13 news anchor Walter Allen had the chance just a little bit ago as well to speak with professional wrestler Natalia Neidhart. Here's just a snippet of their conversation as she talks about what he meant to her personally, and also his cultural impact.
It's crazy because he's somebody that when you think about WWE, WWF, he's a global superstar. He's really one of the first people that you think of when you think of professional wrestling. He's somebody that transcended the industry, and everybody knows who Hulk Hogan is. So this is shocking. This is very big, breaking, shocking news.
Not only, an icon of the sport, but an icon for the area, because, when I first moved down here 11 years ago, you knew Hulk Hogan had his shop in Clearwater. He is Mr. Clearwater.
Yeah, I mean, Hogan he never left Clearwater. You know, I know that these are his stomping grounds. He loved Tampa. He loved Tampa Bay, and he had many businesses that he owned in Tampa Bay. This was his home, and this was where he raised his family. So, I mean, growing up as a little girl, my dad was very close friends with Hulk Hogan. There were every year Hulk would throw these big birthday parties, and our family would go to them. And my dad, I think some of the best memories of my dad's life living in Tampa Bay were going to Hulk Hogan's parties because he had such fun parties and he tried to make everybody feel included.
I would say, is it fair to say that you've known Terry your whole life, pretty much?
I have known Terry my entire life. Yes. He was, he was part of the very first ever WrestleMania, and he really was I think one of the most significant parts of those early building blocks of WWE, which now we know WWE is the largest entertainment company in the world. You know, it's a global juggernaut, but without Hulk Hogan, we may never have seen WrestleMania. He was really one of those founding fathers of those early years for WWE when, Vince McMahon needed the guy, and he was the guy in those early years, and he worked so hard. Like, when I think about the amount of work and sacrifice that he had to make, I mean, he'd wrestle 6 days a week and twice a day, because he was such a big deal. Everybody wanted to see him. So he definitely put his body through a lot to entertain all of us.
And you're 100% right. I think WrestleMania was must-see TV after Hulk did the match with Andre.
Right.
That body slam that's the first thing I think of when I think of Hulk.
Yeah, and you think of, like, Hulk was part of WrestleMania 1. He's part of some of the most iconic moments in the industry. I mean, one of the biggest WrestleMania matches ever was Hulk Hogan versus The Rock. When you think of, like, Hulk versus The Rock, that was, if you go back and watch that match, the cameras were shaking because of how excited the audience. People couldn't decide who they liked more, Rock or Hogan. It was a very iconic match, and he's had really two massive turning points in his career, as far as, being that early day Hulk Hogan, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, wore the red and yellow, and then you think of the NWO Hulk Hogan. Very few people at his level have that kind of career resurgence the way that he did.
Reaction continuing to pour in after the death of Hulk Hogan.